By September 1297, the fate of Scotland rested on a single crossing. For weeks, William Wallace and Andrew Moray had carefully observed the English army as it gathered near Stirling. The English force, commanded by John de Warenne, Earl of Surrey, greatly outnumbered the Scottish rebels. They possessed heavily armored knights, experienced infantry, skilled archers, and the confidence that came with serving one of Europe's most powerful kings. To many observers, the outcome seemed inevitable. England's military strength had defeated kingdoms before, and few believed that a force of Scottish rebels could stand against it. But Wallace understood something that many experienced commanders overlooked. Battles were not won by numbers alone. They were won through leadership, patience, and intelligent use of the battlefield. Separating the two armies was the River Forth. The most practical crossing was a narrow wooden bridge near Stirling. It was so narrow that only a few horsemen could cross side by side. This natural bottleneck transformed the battlefield into an opportunity. Wallace refused to rush into combat. Instead, he waited. English commanders grew impatient. Confident in their superiority, they ordered soldiers to begin crossing the bridge. One group crossed, then another. Slowly, hundreds of English troops reached the opposite side, while thousands remained trapped behind them. Unable to cross quickly enough, Wallace watched every movement. He knew the exact moment he had been waiting for, when enough English soldiers had crossed. But before the rest of the army could reinforce them, he gave the order to attack. The Scottish forces charged with incredible speed. Armed mainly with long spears, axes, and swords, they struck the isolated English troops before they could properly organize their defenses. Panic spread almost immediately. The English soldiers found themselves trapped between the Scottish attack and the narrow bridge behind them. Many attempted to retreat. Others desperately tried to push back across the bridge. The congestion became disastrous. As frightened soldiers and horses crowded together, chaos erupted. Some were forced into the fast-moving waters of the River Forth. Others were killed before they could escape. The bridge itself became a deadly obstacle rather than a path to safety. Meanwhile, thousands of English soldiers on the opposite bank could do little except watch. They were unable to cross quickly enough to rescue their comrades. The Scottish strategy had worked perfectly. The battle quickly turned into one of England's most humiliating defeats during the Wars of Scottish Independence. Among those killed was Hugh de Cressingham, the English treasurer of Scotland and one of King Edward's most trusted officials. His death dealt a serious blow to English administration in Scotland. As the surviving English forces retreated, William Wallace had achieved something few believed possible. He had defeated one of the strongest armies in medieval Britain. The victory echoed throughout Scotland. For ordinary Scots, it proved that England was not invincible. Across the kingdom, hope replaced fear. More volunteers joined the Scottish cause. Nobles, who had remained uncertain, began reconsidering their loyalty. Wallace was no longer simply a rebel leader. He had become Scotland's greatest military hero. Andrew Moray, however, paid a terrible price. Although he fought bravely during the battle, he suffered severe wounds. Despite receiving medical treatment, Moray died several weeks later. His death was a devastating loss. Modern historians believe Andrew Moray played a crucial role in planning the victory at Stirling Bridge, yet his contribution is often overshadowed by Wallace's fame. Following the battle, William Wallace's reputation reached unprecedented heights. Scottish leaders recognized his leadership and military success. Soon afterward, he was appointed guardian of the Kingdom of Scotland, governing in the name of the absent king, John Balliol. It was an extraordinary rise. Only months earlier, Wallace had been viewed by England as an outlaw. Now, he stood as the protector of an entire kingdom. His responsibilities extended far beyond the battlefield. He worked to restore government, strengthen Scotland's defenses, and secure international support. Letters were sent to trading cities across Europe, announcing that Scottish merchants could once again conduct business safely. These diplomatic efforts demonstrated that Wallace understood victory required more than military success. Scotland needed recognition as an independent nation. Yet while Scotland celebrated, King Edward I was furious. News of the defeat reached England with shocking speed. The loss at Stirling Bridge damaged England's prestige and challenged Edward's authority. The English king had spent years building one of Europe's most respected military reputations. Now, a Scottish commander with limited resources had embarrassed his army before the entire continent. Edward made a decision. He would personally lead the next invasion of Scotland. This time, he would not rely on regional commanders. He intended to destroy Wallace's army himself. Across England, preparations began immediately. Experienced knights were summoned. Thousands of infantry assembled. Supplies were gathered for what would become one of the largest military campaigns of Edward's reign. Wallace understood the danger. His greatest victory had also made him England's highest priority. The battle at Stirling Bridge had transformed him into a legend, but an even greater challenge was approaching. The next confrontation would test not only his courage, but his ability to survive against one of medieval Europe's most powerful kings. In Part 4, King Edward I personally invades Scotland, leading to the decisive Battle of Falkirk, a clash that will forever change William Wallace's fate.